Here we are for content creator code. We're going to be covering TikTok's fundamentals, and we're doing this for Beautiful Contradictions. So thank you for the collaboration, and we'll just go with the bare bones for the TikTok stuff, and then we'll hold all questions until the end, and I can answer a little bit more in detail. I'll probably take some longer pauses in between just to make sure my thoughts are completely collected and I can articulate to a better degree some of these concepts. So let's kick it off. TikTok fundamentals, how TikTok finds the right audience. And this is gonna be less about how to go viral. All right, the misconception. People think TikTok growth is all about luck. They also think it's about trends, sounds, hashtags, posting consistently, and of course, getting lucky. This is a smaller sliver of the bigger role that it plays. All those things really help out, but it's only part of the equation. So TikTok's biggest problem is matching content with people who are likely to care about your content. And I have an example or an analogy to kind of go with it. So try to imagine what you're actually up against. It's estimated that daily uploads to TikTok is at roughly 34 million videos a day at an average video length. So we'll say anywhere between a couple of seconds all the way up to 3 minutes, because that's usually what's uploaded. That's somewhere about 45 years of footage uploaded every single day to the platform. So that's not existing content, that's what's added on every single day. This is more video than one person could watch in a lifetime, added before the end of the day. So TikTok's biggest problem isn't finding an audience for your video, it's finding your video inside the 45 years worth of content that already exists every day, right? Every day, mind you. So what's the actual game that we should be playing? So here's the analogy for it. It's the difference between shouting into a quiet room and shouting in Times Square on New Year's Eve. There's roughly 1 million people packed shoulder to shoulder. This is what it's like on TikTok, fully refreshing every single day with the 45 years of content. Volume alone is never going to work. You need the platform to already know what audience should be listening to yours. All right, so TikTok is an interest graph. It doesn't need someone to follow you before it can learn the interest of your content and who it needs to be shown to. So let's take this example right here. Let's say someone watches fitness content. They watch fitness content, they watch meal prep content, weight loss content, the running content. TikTok develops a detailed understanding of that person's different interests without the person ever telling the platform anything directly. So with this, there are two sides. TikTok has to understand the viewer and it has to understand your content, and then it makes a match. Think of it like this. If there is a bartender at a bar that you usually go to, let's say you go there every week and you make the same order, but after a few visits, the bartender automatically pours the drink, even before you sit down, right? The bartender didn't ask anymore, they watch. That's TikTok's read on a viewer, done at a billion-person scale. So content needs an identity. What is it about? Who might care? What problems or interests does it belong to? Those signals come from spoken language within the video, on-screen text, the captions that go with it, sometimes hashtags. The viewer behavior is very important, engagement patterns, the creator and topic history. All this goes into how it divides your content within the platform. If TikTok cannot confidently understand your content, matching it with the right audience becomes harder. So here's the key takeaway. If TikTok cannot confidently understand it, matching the right audience becomes significantly harder no matter how good your content is. If we had to have an example to go with this, if you had a mailing sorting center, it doesn't matter what's actually in your letter, but it does matter what's on the letter, the address, the barcode. If it's smudged, if it's not readable, then it won't go to the address, regardless how good whatever the content is in the envelope. So the whole thing is you have to make sure the envelope is good. And that comes from the actual packaging with these signals that we were talking about, spoken language, on-screen text, captions. These are the elements that you need to put on your envelope. All right, attention is the entry fee. People aren't sitting down and choosing your video. You're interrupting an existing stream of content. Your only job is the first moment. Earn the next second. We got a hook. We have to have the context, and it has to have some type of value. And I found this example that was really, really good to kind of picture how it goes for TikTok. Like I said before, there's about like 45 years worth of content that's uploaded every day, right? So if you imagine a street performer, right? One that's not scheduled, no one carved out the time in their day to watch you. They were already walking somewhere. Think about someone else and their content steps in your path. You get the same length of time as the street performer if it doesn't catch your attention. You have like a split second before the person decides to stay and watch you or walk wherever they were going. There's no stage, no introduction, no warm up. That's going to buy you additional time. And this is how content enters into the platform. So when you make a new piece of content, someone that was already on the platform, they're not waiting for you to put out your content. They were already enjoying their feed in the first place. You're just interrupting their feed. And just like a street performer, they're either going to keep trucking along or your content, the hook in it, has to be strong enough to stop so they can watch you perform, right? Okay, the first 2 seconds, and that's the hook. We'll have a weak hook, a better hook, a stronger hook. A weak hook is an introduction. Hey guys, today I want to talk about whatever, okay? You already, like, if the person gives you a window of like a second and a half, introductions are out of the window, okay? Like, we don't have, especially if we're starting on the platform, we don't have enough branding or reputation for people to automatically know us. People care less about your name and they care more about what you can serve to them. A better hook. Here are 3 TikTok tips. And if we go stronger, we're really hitting a pain point where it calls out to a specific audience or someone with a specific pain point. If your TikTok keeps dying at 300 views, check this first. The stronger opener creates audience identification, problem, and curiosity. All right, so the value density. Once you earn attention, you have to continuously justify it. Even every unnecessary second is another chance to leave. So if you had to do any video, especially when you're starting off, I would just come up with one video, one promise, one payoff. You don't have to make this complicated thing, this elaborate story, especially when you're starting off and you're getting your reps in. One video, promise, payoff. And the big thing is, I'm not trying to teach you that all content has to be like 30 seconds long or like really, really short. What I'm trying to teach you is the video should be as long as the value requires and no longer. So think of you going to a movie, right? You go watch a movie, you watch the whole thing and credits roll. Do you sit and watch the credits? I want to venture to say that most people will walk out on the credits, right? So a lot of people, they have their punchline, they deliver their value, and they have something that's the equivalent of credits. That really distorts your retention time, how long a viewer stays on your video. Just cut it. Like, usually when I make my piece of content, even right before I deliver the value, I'll clip the end of the word just to make sure the retention time or the amount that the person watches my video is completely 100%. Think of it like a test. Someone that performs 95% on a test, that's the retention. Someone drops off at the last 5%, and someone that has a video that has 100%. Scoring wise, which one does better, right? You would go with the 100. You don't need to harangue people. Just as soon as the payoff is there, just cut it. All right. TikTok used to be an endless scroll. Same thing about Instagram, but now it's becoming something that is a search figure, a search platform. And I have a really good example right now. So TikTok is also a search. Now we're going into something much more TikTok specific. People are starting to use TikTok more to search for specific answers for their questions. How do I blank? Best blank for how does blah, 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 things to do in whatever place. TikTok strategies for stay-at-home moms. So as it goes along, and let me give this example right quick before I go off on a tangent. This analogy right here, we used to use Google to search everything, right? So this isn't just theory. Back in 2022, Google's own SVP of search, they said nearly 40% of 18 to 24-year-olds that are looking for a place to eat for lunch don't open up Google Maps or Google. What do you think they go to? They open up TikTok or Instagram. A platform built for entertainment has slowly shifted to become the latter for real questions to be conveniently answered. All right, signal stacking. The signal stacking that we talked about earlier. We have spoken in the video on screen. We have captions. We have hashtags. Hashtags right now, they matter a little less, especially with AI integrated into examining each piece of content. But hashtags play a role, but less of a role, specifically more of like this year. I just wanted to address that in the actual content. So does the content answer whatever query outside of entertainment? Everything points in the same semantic direction. Don't make TikTok guess. I had a long photographer example. I think with all this, we kind of understand, but very quickly, I'll go over if there was a photographer trying to do something, the spoken language for a photographer on screen, it would be how to get photography clients on screen, 3 ways to get photography clients. Captions, it would say a lot of those things. Hashtags would be relevant to photographers in business terms. And then the content itself would answer the question. So we are going to go into the content or topic clusters or buckets. And the example we're going to use is a personal trainer. The main topic that we have for a personal trainer, let's say it's fat loss, right? So the clusters or the adjacent topics that a personal trainer would probably use is nutrition, strength training, walking or cardio, fat loss mistakes, meal examples. I was talking to someone the other day, and I came up with a revelation about these ICAs or your target audience or your niche. If you can think of the specific niche as the identity, let's say the identity is, for the sake of argument, the personal trainer, right? Now think about the activities the personal trainer does. Those are your content buckets. Personal trainer thinks about conscious eating, exercising, probably mentality, and then other supplementing things for personal training. The ICA or the niche is the identity, the person. I am insert identity. I do these activities. Those are most likely the topics that you need to cover. So your activities are the content buckets, and your niche is the identity of the person. All right, not all engagement is equal. These things mean different. These types of engagement mean different things: likes, comments, saves, shares, profile, visits, follows, DMs. Likes, I enjoy this. Comments, I have something to say. Save, I need this. Share, someone else needs to see this. Profile, visit, I need to find out who made this content. A follow, I need more of this person in my life. DM, I want to have a conversation with this person, right? So these different signals, you want to decide what your end goal is and probably reverse engineer your content to be around the constraint. I want this person to share this item, right? Like it's no longer about likes. It's more about how can I get this person interested in my content? Well, the strongest indicators is probably shares and saves. And everything else you can build around those constraints as well. But it's no longer about let's just get generic engagement. So what do I want someone to do because they watch this? Want the saves, want the shares, want comments, want profile visits, want DMs. We went over this just shortly ago, but you can create a checklist for saves. You can create something someone immediately create something someone immediately thinks another person needs. So usually, and sometimes it doesn't have to be like super high value. It could be a meme, right? Or like a relatable, nuanced meme, right? Something that connects to culture, connects to something gender specific, something that is professionally linked. If you want comments, legitimate decisions, questions, disagreements, or experience worth discussing, the comments section is probably the place I love to go just to see what other people say. So when you make a piece of content, like I would say, how am I going to start a conversation with this piece of content? One, profile visits. You got to build enough curiosity so people just want to know who you are. You don't tell them your value, you show them your value, and then most likely they'll end up going to your profile. Want DMs, solve a problem part of the way. They need the whole pie. They're like, okay, I got a piece of the pie. I want to know, I want to know the whole answer, or my curiosity is peaked and I have to get in touch with this person. That's how we get DMs. All right. How far are we? We are on slide 13 out of 18. I'm almost done and we can get right to the questions. Hopefully this is really good content. Like I said, I am just flying through this information. All right. The profile changed everything. Someone likes your video, then what? With seconds on your profile, they're asking, who are you? What do you talk about? Is this for me? Why should I trust you? What should I watch next? What can I do next? Right? So usually it goes video, profile, down to whatever pipeline you have. Some people it may be a course that they're selling. Maybe it's just for a follow. A lot of people they have spam accounts and they have no CTA or call to action at the end. But if you get more specific and have intention with what you're trying to convey with all your platforms, especially on TikTok, you can actually make it a pipeline for yourself. All right, build your profile. If you wanted to make this a pipeline, your name, it's very clear. Search relevant, your bio, who you help, what's your outcome. Your pin videos start here. Sometimes it's your proof, strongest value. And when you hit the 10K mark, you can make playlists or series. You can organize your expertise or just organize a lot of the concepts that you have that sit in the same cluster. And then you have your call to action at the bottom, which could be a follow, DM, your links. You may have some type of shop like a Stanley store or some type of offer. All right, content should have jobs. So not every post exists for the same reason. You have these items, and let me make sure I am covering everything. All right, so discovery content gets new people in. Authority content makes authority content makes them trust you. Relationship content makes them know you. Conversation content moves them towards action. What happens if a business posts nothing about discovery content? They may get lots of views and very little business. The mechanisms for entertainment and the mechanisms to sell are two different things. If you don't have these things in place, you make it harder for yourself. So a business could just have entertainment for their content, but it points nothing to their business. Some businesses do okay with awareness, but they have an issue with conversion. So like I said, just like with your profile, you may want to think about what type of content you want and what you want the content to do for that end user when they get done with it, right? And we've been really drilling this down during the whole presentation. So we've gone over the system, TikTok as an ecosystem. We have the For You page where it's people just discovering you, the scroll, the search where you can go in and put in the things that you're searching for. And hopefully some of the topics that you've covered, people will find you through search. From the content, the For You page and the searches, people can go to your profiles. They can click through your comments. Sometimes you can go live and people can endlessly go in your live. The great thing about TikTok's lives is you don't need to follow someone for people to be in your live. So once you get 1,000 followers, you can go on lives whenever. And the great thing about lives, you can't pre-record it. You literally have to go live. So once you go live, they'll just throw people into your live to see what's happening. If there's a lot of traction, if people start commenting and they like your live, they'll push it out to more people, just random people. DMs comes from everything that we talked about before. If you have TikTok shop, or if you're selling something after 1,000 followers, you can start selling and have commission based affiliations with some of these products that are on TikTok, and you can sell stuff. And the great thing is you can make the video. If they click on your orange cart in TikTok, they can buy from you and you instantly get commission. You have to wait a certain period for it. But the great thing is they integrated all those things in one place, so you don't have to jump platforms. So you can do your selling right on TikTok as well after you get a following. You also have duet, stitches, and remixes. This is something more of a networking distribution. It helps cultivate less of the business aspect and linking people together. That's one of the great things that other people have modeled, or other platforms have modeled, like IG. They started implementing stitches and duets, and that all came from TikTok. And I thought that one tool was incredible to just make it a little bit more nuanced and interactive for people on the platform. And of course, we have series and playlists after you get 10K followers. So here's the flywheel. TikTok as a perpetuating flywheel. We have the clear topic. TikTok understands your content. It pushes it to the right audience. Once it gets to the audience, you have a great hook. The hook earns attention. The value holds attention. So the rest of your content is in line. You can keep the pace where the audience really wants to stay on track with your content. Behavior creates signal, all the things that we talked about before. More distribution if it has a proper engagement. People go to your profile, they follow you, DM you, probably purchase from you, and it goes right back to the topic. So the final lesson, stop asking how to go viral. Start asking, how do I become easier for TikTok to understand, easier for the right person to recognize, and more valuable once they stop? The things are, you got to be clear, earn attention, deliver value, create intent. And this is how we build the system. And that concludes that part of the presentation. Lovely. So this is the real stuff. Let's go on with the questions. Let's go where people may need help.
So I was curious, would you recommend, when you were talking about captions on screen and all of that, is it best to have on-screen text while you have the captions, or would that be overloaded?
Okay, so I'm going to give you the format that would work the best just starting out, okay? So the piece of content that you have, on-screen text should be right above your head. And the on-screen text should be on there for the first 5 seconds, because usually when you end up talking, especially if you say something that's really interesting, to get more context, the on-screen text works as your title, kind of like on YouTube. You have your thumbnail and your title. So you talking, or whatever the action is your thumbnail. And you could say something completely absurd. So I know we're a storyteller, so this may be like really good for you. And like, it's like, if you say something completely traumatic, it's like, okay, this is what I learned in a car accident today. People are like, what? And then they have to read the caption up front or above you saying like, what is going on? Like, what happened? And it's like, how to write a book, what I learned from a car accident, right? Like, they're like, what is going on? And then after you have the on-screen text go away, then you can have your on-screen captions underneath your mouth. Usually it's underneath your mouth or over your head. The reason why I like it underneath your mouth, it stays with your mouth moving, and it's not distracting where if you have assets that are too far apart, then it's fighting for attention. Think of it like this. If there's something too noisy and your eyes have to fight for it, remember, whoever's watching it on the other end, you don't want them to work harder than they need to. So if it's like, hey, I'm talking about this. I have on-screen text here. My captions are above my head. You have to look at 3 different places. I'm going to make you work as hard as possible to understand my content. They're going to be like, nope, I'm going to scroll away. Does that help answer that question?
Yep, definitely. Yes, I do.
Let's
So,
go.
so let's see. I've heard that once people start following you, it's less likely they're going to see your videos and things. Is that
That is correct. That is correct. So I, in the early stages, I did like a follow trend or a follow train. It was like follow for follow. Kills, let me tell you, kills your algorithm horribly. Never do that. Do not do that. But what ended up happening was that profile has distinct interest markers, right? You have probably a lot of interest markers over books. Mine has different things, maybe AI and such, right? If we're following each other, it's going to try to find overlaps, understanding the things that I like, understanding what you like, the type of content that you push out. And sometimes it'll go in the ether. Do you have Facebook?
Mhm.
Okay, so if you scroll through Facebook, I'm pretty sure you have friends on Facebook that you've known since like forever ago, but you never see them. And then you have like acquaintances where you've interacted with their stuff and you see them constantly online, right? It's not the fact that your friends aren't online, it's the interest points. Since y'all are interacting, it'll keep showing that person. TikTok is very much so the same thing. They'll give someone a chance, like if someone follows you, to kind of like show their content or show your content to them. But if the interest points aren't strong enough, they won't show it again. What they do is they take the profile of that person. They're like, okay, this person is in this age bracket and they have these interest points. This person is a male. They're between the ages of 18 to 24. We're going to have a lookalike audience of other 18 and 24-year-olds, and that's where we're going to push Danny's content to. Okay, it didn't resonate. We're going to try again this way. So once someone follows you, their markers of their profile will be there, but there's a good chance that you won't see that specific person again.
Gotcha. Hmm. Can I ask another?
Ask away. We have literally 30 minutes, and I want this as high value as possible. Like the big thing, I have a TikTok page right now. I don't have a ton of followers. I have like um I'm like 200 shy from like 9K, but like all my content is built around how to create content in AI. So like if you go watch that, like you can tell that I don't want people to be lied to. Like I just want to give them the truth.
Yeah.
So ask away, ask all you want.
Cool. So I don't know anything about duet or stitch or that stuff. Can you
Mhm.
dive into it?
Okay, so there's features where you can do a duet or stitch. And what's great about this is you can have someone that you follow that's like a huge, like they have millions of followers, right? You can duet or stitch their content unless they like turn it off, and you can be connected to someone big, essentially riding off their coattails. So if they do like a dance, like um let's say like they make a video and they say, okay, this is something I learned. You can put in a stitch and be like, well, that's not true. From my experience, like, so if you have someone that's in the space that is a book writer or a storyteller, and they have a big following, if you have something to add on, or if you want to duet their information, let's say like this is great content from this person, and you stitch in their content, it essentially is a low barrier for you to get brand recognition writing off of someone else's clout, essentially.
Piggyback ride.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Like some people do it all the time. So here's a great example that I use. Okay, there's someone in the AI space that I commented immediately after her post, and I think she's over 1 million followers on TikTok right now, right? And she commented, like I caught her right in time. So I did a response video to her comment. So like now, like in her comment section sits my video, like it's in her, like, and she has her her whole page is like a billboard, and now I'm sitting on there. So there's a lot of value with stitching, duetting, or commenting off a comment with another video.
Cool. Huh. So if you were to do a duet or stitch, would this kind of veer away from your niche in a way? Or because I mean, I guess I get the feeling that the videos, the reels that you choose to put up should stay consistent. So if you do duets, would it be something that you'd have to incorporate into being consistently done?
It doesn't have to be consistently done, but it does have to be adjacent to, it has to go in line with your niche. So like if those are activities that they do, like let's say this, let's say I'm a hip hop dancer, right? Which I was a lifetime ago, but let's say I'm a hip hop dancer and then there's a dancer that's doing a dance, but I do a duet dancing with them that is in line with the brand because my page is a dancer. I find another dancer and I do a duet where I do the exact same dance as them.
Cool. Cool. I probably will have some more. I just need to think on it.
Not for now. I'm just taking all the info in. Very interesting.
And is the information things like, did anything really stand out to us? Was it like, oh, bro, I knew all this before? You know, all it was extra words.
No, I think it was well, as someone with experience on the platform, I'm a complete newbie. I don't even know whether I'll actually go on TikTok, but I know it's a platform that people talk about. There's more traffic going to it now. I know the picture always seems to change, but the way you broke it down of especially like the categorizing of if you want them, like if you want more followers or more DMs or whatever, that was quite a cool breakdown. So yeah, nice to see it put in that kind of way.
I appreciate
and I
it.
think
Thank you.
and I think it was really good how you mentioned that 40% of people were using TikTok and Instagram as the search engine to find the answer instead of what many of us maybe see TikTok and Instagram as. So that was really interesting to put it in that way of looking at it. Yes. And then I think I had an question and I maybe had lost it.
No worries. And if y'all want, I can kind of talk about my experience, like real tests of things that I done on TikTok. So TikTok, it really doesn't matter what time a day you post things. If you're going to post it, just post it. You don't have to wait for a peak time. The big thing that I've noticed, I've done it every which wrong way possible. I've could have gone like more wrong, but the things that I've noticed is the max that you want to post in a day is probably like 5. I tried like 7, 8 one time, and you know that the platform is throttling you or you have bot like behavior when they show you to like 3, 4 people off the gate, out of the gate. They usually show you to at least 100 people. 100 people. Okay, like even if your content's completely bad, because they need data points, right? They don't know who you are. They have to confidently decide who you are and what you're about. And like showing it to 2 people is not adequate, which I have had happen to me. I'm like, okay, I did something wrong. My account has been pinged. A lot of people, you'll see creators, especially strategists, they'll say, oh, there's no such thing of an algorithm. You are like you're lying to people. You know, don't say that. And what's funny is people say that because they have these unconscious biases. They're like, oh yeah, they're saying exactly what I want to hear. I'm gonna follow this person. If I wanted to have more followers, I'd be like, you know what, your content isn't bad. All you have to do are these secret hacks, and you'll instantly go viral. It's like, oh, I knew it. Knew that's what you had to do, right? Like stuff like that always gets like reshared, and I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way when people spread misinformation like that. So
Yeah, and I think it's so good that you point that out too, because I've seen a lot of those videos where they're like, "These are the steps that you need to do, and you'll go viral," and I'm like, "Bullshit."
yeah,
I don't know what they're saying.
yeah.
Oh,
And,
no, I think that's really good.
yeah, and if I had to give any one advice about TikTok specifically, so what I love about TikTok is it's a one-stop shop. literally you can record and edit in the same like like sitting, because you can do everything over your phone. I I came from a background where I'm a videographer, right? So I would record, I would upload it to my laptop or my Mac, I would edit, I would export, then I would upload. The thing about TikTok, you can record, do edits within the native app, and then send it. It's shipped right away. What's also awesome, about TikTok is it's less curated for the IG effect. Everything's not polished. Like literally, you could have a video go up about like I know if I went online right now and asked the question about AI, just like, hey, quick question about AI, blah blah blah, it would reach people and people would respond in the comments just immediately. That is very unheard of in YouTube, or less likely in YouTube and IG, because IG I feel like is a showreel. Not saying that people can't track on IG, Instagram. It's more of like a place where you have to know what you're doing already. It's like, okay, here's my show reel, right? Like this is what I look like after hours of editing, blah blah blah. I love TikTok because someone could have an honest rant and be very vulnerable, and it get shared to like the world. You know, it's very cool that way. And if anyone wants to practice just making content, TikTok is a platform, I feel. So like low stakes, like you can have a 15, 20-second video and it'll give you enough data on this is what I need to do more of. This is how I need to refine my storytelling for social. You know, like now I can capture attention for 20 seconds. Let me expand to 30 seconds. Some people, they go right to YouTube, spend 6 hours on like a 4-minute video, get no views. I can post up a 15-second video, get 300 views within the day, and have enough analytics to be like, okay, people like this, I'll do more of this. People tune out to this, I'll do less of this. You know, you get feedback extremely fast, and it doesn't have to be super polished.
So now I have more questions.
Let's go.
So I think I have seen some videos, some reels where the person creating it tells who they are in it. Is that something that is valuable or not? I mean, I tried this and then I felt crappy doing it that way. It felt like, oh, I just copy and pasted this thing in there, and it just felt gross to me.
Okay, so you're a storyteller.
Mm.
So when you first learned like the techniques that you learned, you probably modeled it after someone until you got into your own voice, right? So like essentially same thing with playing an instrument. Usually people that play instruments, they do covers of songs. And then after covers, they learn their own melody and then they make their own music, right? I know it feels crappy, but everyone starts somewhere. And most people start from copying other people. It feels crappy, it sucks, but after enough reps, you'll get your own voice. And if you're talking about specifically introducing yourself, I would stray away unless you're like a fantastic storyteller verbally. Like I'm a fairly good storyteller in person, but recording, like talking to a screen is hard. Like, you know, like I can be animated when I can see the other person's facial reaction. But when I'm looking at my own face and like I'm over exaggerating my movements and the cadence of my voice, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, wow, I feel like a clown, you know, like it's much harder. But if you're a good storyteller, sometimes it's very irrelevant about that. For me, I'm like, I can tell good stories when I'm in a circle of people. I'm not that strong in front of just my camera. So I skip the introducing myself and I just introduce the value and I do it with a hook. So like I'm, you know, like I'll do something like mine's AI. I'm just like, did you know AI spying on you right now? Okay. And I like start the introduction. They're like, what? They're spying on me. What are you even talking about? Let me hear what's going on. And usually that's how I end up telling my stories. And in the cadence that I'm speaking to you right now, like when I speak to people, in person, I'm a little bit more animated. But then when I'm like talking like the presentation, it was like the cadence was completely dry. I've tried to practice that. It does not break a ton. So I had to work on really making my sentences concise and relying on my neutral cadence while telling the story very expressively through my words. So it just depends on the person. Some people there can be like, hey, I'm Tom, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, I love this person. Let me just hear what they say. Mine is like, okay, if you don't listen to this video, you'll probably die in the next 5 minutes. They're like, whoa, 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 what? Like, let me hear this dude out right quick, you know?
Cool. Now, does it matter if someone uses a scheduler for it, or would it be best to actually make the videos on?
Yeah, so if there's a scheduler, which scheduler are you speaking about specifically?
Metricool.
Metricool. Okay. So they're not too bad. I have to look into it more, but I'm superstitious. So I usually like draft everything and I press send. So that way the platform knows that a human being went in there and pressed send, and it's like not bot like. I'm not saying that Metricool does it and it looks a certain type of way. I played around with, which one was the one I played with? It was another scheduler and it was not performing well. And I like tested it out for myself through experience. And I noticed that when I posted it up myself, that it performed a lot better. So the superstition kind of like stuck. So I can't really say that's Metricool would hurt you, but I would err on the side of caution and just draft them. If you're a person with a tight schedule and you're okay with drip feeding the platform your content and it does okay, you know, like I would say do more of it.
Yeah, cool. I feel like I had something else. I didn't write it down fast enough.
No worries. No worries. We're here. I'll stay until the time is up. So as long as I can address all the questions that you have.
So you were mentioning the trending sounds don't really matter, or tags.
The trending sounds, oh yeah, the trending sounds, just to give you a heads up, it just has a shelf life. So like it'll go maybe, and then here's the caveat for trending sounds. If the trending sound for some reason becomes copyrighted or there's like some type of thing, it'll strip all the audio from it, including you talking.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, we can do that. Danny, are you up for it?
I'm up for it. I like to be
Okay.
the guinea pig.
Let me just look at your profile right quick. Okay, as far as just right off the bat for your packaging, when someone clicks on your profile, like I said, just like for videos, if you make them work too hard with the words and reading it, you're very consistent. Your branding is right on par. You have the same color scheme. You essentially use the same template, which is something that you definitely need in the future when you're branding yourself out. The big thing is I would suggest just making sure that the words are clustered all in one place and you use at max like 5 to 7 words. And if you're like having issues, I don't know if you use a ton of AI, but like if you open up Google Gemini or ChatGPT and just be like, this is my concept. I need you to boil it down into like one headline of less than 5 words. What would you say? But like right here, these words I don't know if you can see my mouse. I'm going to just say the 4th, 5th, and 6th one over. You can see that the words are spread out across the whole template. I would just cluster them together and just narrow it down to 5 and make sure they're like super clear, like how to write characters readers can actually see. I would boil it down to like 3 or 4 words. What those words would be right now, I can't think off the top of my head, but just making it super consolidated. But let's click on the ones outside of your pin. Okay.
Is when you're speaking, a huge difference between writing a book versus speaking is when you're speaking, you're using your body. you're using what people can visually see. When you're writing on a piece of paper, you're writing something that people can imagine. And that does not mean it's going to be the same exact something that the author actually sees. When you're creating characters, for instance, in a book, you're going to want to describe how they look. You maybe give them little tweaks in a book. When you something that the author actually sees. When you're creating characters, for instance, in a book, you're going
Right there, your hook was pretty good. I would have actually used that part of that to be your hook.
something that the author actually sees, that people can piece of paper, you're actually see. When you're writing on a piece of paper, you're writing something that people can imagine. And that does not mean it's going to be the same exact.
So the reason why I would jump in the middle of the story is there's it's hooked in with what you're saying, especially if it's being shown to writers. It's like if you're writing for a character, the introduction of if you're writing a book, that's very broad based, and like I still have to go in several places in your content to figure out what's going on. Kind of like the example from the beginning earlier, the example that I gave you earlier about like being in a car wreck. It's like, yeah, this is what I learned from being in a car wreck about book writing. It's just like it strikes your curiosity and it hits an emotion. Like, what are we even talking about? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I would really zero in on the emotion. So if you want a really, really good hook, think, okay, does this hook? And usually it's the first 12 words. I know that's so precise. It's like in the first 12 words that I speak, does it open up curiosity and does it make me feel an emotion? And the more exaggerated it is, the better it'll perform. See another piece of content.
As a little girl, about 5 years old, I learned how to hook a camcorder to my TV. So I started creating these videos and I loved it. And so when I turned about 11 or 12 for a birthday present, I had all my friends get ready for a serial killer movie. And so
that was the hook right there. When I was 12 years old, I got this party ready for a serial killer movie. It's like, what? And then like literally the rest of the content would have sat the way it was.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Just to like, that's kind of what you do when you write many stories, is you want to jump right into it instead of, yep.
So,
cool.
And I don't want to scrutinize you anymore. That was, and we hit the time right on the dot, but hopefully that was helpful. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that was very helpful. And it pointed something out that I knew, but I needed to hear.
Isn't that funny? Like how that works out? Like it's happened to me more often than not, literally this past like couple of years for me. It's just like, I knew that. I tell people that. And like, it had to be thrown in my face by someone else. Not saying that's what happened, but like, I get it.
You threw it into my face.
Oh no, Danny, I'm sorry.
No, I'm happy for it. Sometimes we need that slap in the face.
Yeah. So yeah, Vishad, do you have any questions?
Just a very quick one. So like, on other platforms they talk about this blessed algorithm where you've got to keep your engagement up versus what you post. So it's not like post and go. Do you feel it's the same for TikTok, or is it a case you could post and go, or do you have to keep up your engagement on other people's content and stuff?
So that's a misnomer. The long path is, if you want, it's kind of like school. Like if you could have a thriving school and not be on it like at all for yourself. Like if the content is strong enough, it's like, hey, I give all this free stuff, all these free resources. You can go to YouTube to grab this stuff. I have the things in my school community, and they're a ghost. Like they don't have any meetings. And then there's other people that have to like do meetings, and then they have to go to other communities to kind of generate that traffic. What I would say is it increases, but sometimes it's not the best use of that creator's time. So if you have compelling content where people are like, I just need more, and compelling could mean a whole bunch of things. Like, let's say I just had funny memes on my page, which I do on my Instagram. I tested it out, and all I did, like, it's me, it used to be my personal account. Now it's just my burner account where I just posted other people's content. Like, I remixed them, and all these people started to like follow me. And one month, I was like, I made it a game. I was like, oh, I got 500,000 views this month. Let me see if I can go up more. It went from like 500,000 to 2 million, 4 million. I got it up to 12 million. But does that mean that it was high value? It was just a different type of value. The value was, I make people laugh, they reshare the stuff, they comment on the stuff, but it wasn't value the way we would say for like delivering something so someone can profit in business, right? Value just depends. And once you're locked into that value, you probably, and here's the thing, for my page, for my personal IG account, I don't talk in the comments. They usually like talk amongst themselves, and I generate all these views. So
Nice one. Fair enough.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Before we close out, do we have any last second questions? Because I think we got a good bit answered.
I'm good. I think you answered all of my questions and then some.
Awesome. Lexi, do you have any questions? Yeah, so what I've noticed is TikTok is shifting into search based, and now they really hone in on the markers for interest. So it's not like they just feed it to everyone now. They really find these buckets of interest that everyone has. So like, let's say a stay-at-home mom knits, rides motorcycles, does grappling. You know, like if those markers are hit, their feed will be curated in the interest points. So it is kind of like a hodgepodge, but like literally TikTok is just finding the interests that resonates with that person. That's why sometimes, like Danny said, if someone follows you, will they ever see you again? If those markers aren't hit constantly, you'll probably never see that person again.
Sounds so sad.
So the metrics, it's the nature of the beast on consumption. So, and this is what I mean. So on TikTok, the consumption base is very bite-sized, right? There's actually long pieces of content where they're 30 plus minutes long. Like if you go to TikTok Studio, you can do longer form, but specifically on the phone, it's 3 minutes under, right? So I think it can go up to 10 minutes now, but that's a side point. But think of it like this. This is like saying, if a restaurant is used to doing fast food, can they instantly go into a sit-down restaurant setting and be successful? Can Taco Bell instantly, which they rebranded into something a little bit more serious and adult-based, would they do as well as fine dining? I would like to think that someone that starts at fine dining going to fast food would have a better conversion, but it's much harder when the consumption is fast paced and they have to go to longer form. That's an opinion. That's not fact, but like that's right there is how it makes sense in my head. Is it impossible? No. Just like any social media platform, you always have outliers. But what do we always mark ourselves against? What do we compare ourselves against? Always the outliers. It's like that person can do it. I can do it too. Well, here's another truth, a hard pill to swallow for most people. Every dead body on Mount Everest was a motivated person, right? So the thing is, you know, like you can try to strive to be an outlier, but you have to look at the distribution. What does the average mean? This person did it a year, but on average, it took someone 8 years. Most likely, you're going to be in the route of someone in 8 years. You know, like, of course, dream big, try to shoot to be an outlier, but let's be realistic with the time frame too. So, to answer your question directly, we're talking about conversion. I go from TikTok to YouTube. Will I be as successful? You have the fundamentals and tools of how content needs to be packaged. It's not packaged the same way. Fast food, sit down, two different vehicles. you're both eating food. It is both packaged different ways. Sometimes people go on TikTok for long form, but TikTok is made for fast food. YouTube, a lot of it is built for a combination of both. You know, I think the conversion from YouTube to TikTok more viable, vice versa. I don't know.
What I've noticed since I use Metricool, I have videos reposted to YouTube and to
Great.
Instagram. And it's like what I'm doing is I'm fully focused more on TikTok. So I make it specific for that platform. And the other ones, they just get the leftovers. They just get whatever. And what I've noticed with YouTube is I've had a lot more comments from the videos that I post in that sense. And so I thought that was just interesting and I wanted to share.
Yeah, no, great. And most likely it's like whatever data points, it just resonates. Like they found people searching for those topics because a lot of it's baked into the transcripts. Like this person's talking about this is story writing, storytelling. These other individuals will probably like to see it as well. We'll go ahead and push it out to them. And you know, like Google, YouTube, more refined with finding the searches that people want. And most likely, like I don't know like our generation, but like hustle culture and all that, that's more TikTok based. And then there's a handful of things that just work us so much better on YouTube. Here's something that's very interesting. There are a lot of walking videos that do so well on YouTube. 30 minutes of someone walking around the Bahamas, not saying anything. It's just sightseeing. Like
Wait.
someone sitting. Yeah. It's like that's a thing. It is a thing. It is a thing. They just found their audience.
Whoop, whoop.
Right? So
Huh.
but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Hopefully that was super insightful. This has been a collaboration with Beautiful Contradictions. I'm glad everyone could join us for Content Creator Code. And we'll see you on the next one. But that was the outro for that. We're good.